Hello, everybody, and welcome to part two of a three-part series of my photography day at the Washington State Fair. If you missed part one, you can see a link below for that. And if you want to make sure to catch part three, please subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and the algorithm will do its best to make sure to show it to you next week when it premieres. As I was working on the edit for the photos in today's video, I noticed something. They're pretty much all from the same ride, and I'm not sure how that happened. I think one of the things that drew me to this specific ride was the variety of options for making photos, for freezing some of the images, for using motion blur in some of the images, and some opportunities for different vantage points. Later on, some of the photos that you're going to see zoomed in are taken from a roof deck bar at 300 millimeters. So that was a different vantage point that I can get on this ride that I couldn't get on some of the other ones. One of the fun things I discovered in creating these photos was that it kind of turns out to be a metaphor for photography in general. In a bunch of these sequences, I was using burst mode. So I was just taking a quick sequence of photos, and the ride is moving so quickly that I couldn't see specifically necessarily what was really going on. But then when I was looking at the back of the camera, when I was editing the photos, I noticed the ones that were quite special moments. And I didn't see them when I was creating the photo, to be honest, but that's the metaphor of photography sometimes. You can't see ahead of time the photos that you're going to necessarily create, but in being out and creating photos often, frequently, consistently, that's a great way to get and create photos that you really like, you're proud of, and that showcase the kind of photos you want to create. So that's the lesson of today's burst mode sequence of 200-300 photos of one ride to catch a couple of photos that are kind of special and magic. You got to be out there, you got to create lots of photos, and then in the midst of creating lots of those photos, there will hopefully be some really special moments for you. So onwards to the photos. I'll check in with you after the photos with a couple more thoughts. So sit back, relax, enjoy a couple minutes of some photos. So there you have it, some more photos from the fair. I hope you enjoyed them. A couple thoughts, well, actually one main thought. as I was out creating these photos, one of the things I wanted to do was to get some of the motion blur. It was a bright sunny day, so to get to 150, 1/30th of a second to get enough blur for the effect I wanted, that means I needed to close down my aperture to about f/22. So as you close your aperture to f/22, to the smaller opening, so less light, what happens is things become more in focus, including all the sensor dust spots on your camera sensor. The reason I went with the smaller aperture to get to the longer shutter speeds that I wanted was frankly laziness. I have neutral density filters, which you put on front of your camera to basically be sunglasses to let less light in so you can get longer exposures. But I thought, oh, it's going to be too much of a hassle to take my backpack off, unpack the neutral density filters, screw them onto the lens, and then create some more photos and then put it all away. Well, I thought, that would probably take a minute or two to do that. And in the end, in saving time, I now have spent probably 5 minutes on each photo removing the sensor dust spots. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's an example of one of the photos with some motion blur. And all those circles that you're seeing on the frame are sensor dust spots that I had to remove. Here's what it looks like before. You can see some of the spots are big, some of them are small. So yeah, this is kind of a pain. It's not the only photo. Here's some more. So in saving time, I spent extra time at the computer. As always, I'm reminded it's good if you can do it in camera so you can save yourself time later on at the computer. Yeah, so the solution is to not close your aperture as small and shoot wide open, and then there's no sensor dust spots. Well, they're still there, but they're just not in focus. So this brings me to a feature request for Fujifilm. Please copy Sony and create a system that when the lenses are taken off, the shutter closes to keep most, if not all, of the particulate matter in the air off the sensor. That would be a really greatly appreciated feature. Thank you very much. So I hope you enjoyed part 2 of this 3-part series of photos of my day at the fair. If you have any comments, thoughts, suggestions, I'd love to have conversation with you in the comments down below. Look forward to seeing you there. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. Part 3 of this video will be coming out next week on the 27th of September. If you want to have the best chance of automatically seeing that in your YouTube feed, please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell, and then hopefully the algorithm will show that to you next week. So until we meet again in part 3 of this video, or whatever video you have mind you watch next, stay safe, stay well, and have fun creating photos. Bye for now.